What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lauren Rei, right here on What a Ice Radio. We are back for another crazy episode.
Yes, we are back. We're
Jay,
here.
what's up?
Chilling.
How's your week been so far?
Good, you know, staying busy. It's the beginning of the year, so we got a lot of things.
I know. I feel like
and all that stuff.
it's just never stops.
It doesn't.
But
It's not supposed to.
It's not supposed
Can't stop,
to.
won't stop.
I was thinking more Drake. It's not a rule, you want to stop. What?
Alright, whatever.
But I see you took it back though.
I did it.
I'm
He's the
okay.
originator, yeah.
I see how you did that. I like it. I like the throwback of it.
Yeah, of course.
But yes, we are here. We're in the building. Shout out to the whole What a Ice family. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. Guests for the Lauren Rei Live show this year. It's just crazy.
Crazy lineup.
We had a crazy start last week.
Yes.
Yep. Shout out to P. Michael Boone.
Yeah.
He is doing crazy things.
Very inspiring.
And now this week we have a lovely young lady here in the building.
Yes.
Jay, you want to introduce her?
Yeah, sure. Recent position with the Philadelphia Souls, communications manager.
Check.
Out here, fitness guru. Check. Yeah, I mean, pretty much knows everybody in the city. It feels like it's
Socialite.
Yeah, I mean, socialite.
Probably wiggling toes on at the sixth floor game.
Yeah, she's out here moving the shakers.
Yes,
What we bring to the
that's what we
table.
do.
Let's see what we got. Gabbi Townsend, everybody.
Hey.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the show. How you feeling?
Thanks. Good. It's good to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, so a lot of people introduced me to you via social media, like, yo, you gotta have this girl on the show. She's all over the place. She's doing big things.
Yeah.
And then I'm like going through, you know, a little bit stalking you a little bit on Instagram. I ain't ashamed to say
Who
it.
is she?
I gotta figure it out.
Who really is she?
Gotta figure it out. But really, the first time I saw you, we both were at the same event. We were both at the Dream Walk Fashion Show, but you were behind the scenes working, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And they are friends to the show, the Bite Size Sisters.
Yeah,
They
shout out
were
to them.
here. We love them. We feel like they just drop glitter on us.
They have an aura.
They're the best.
Yeah.
They are the best. And I got to see you there, and I was like, oh, that's her! I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk with so many people there, but I was definitely got to have her on the show. So thank you for coming
Yeah,
through.
of course.
Yeah, anytime.
You are a Jersey native, so
I am.
you are still from the Tri-State area.
What part of Jersey?
Yeah. So I grew up in Morristown, right over
Yeah.
the bridge.
Oh, I know where. Okay.
Yeah.
So first question, are you an Eagles fan?
I am.
Or
I've been an Eagles fan my whole life.
All right,
Yeah.
she can stay. She can definitely stay through. All right, cool. And you're a Sixers fan, right?
I am.
She
Yep,
is a Sixers fan.
forever.
All right, we good. We already started this conversation off really good. So how did you really get your start in communications and PR, media relations? How did that come about?
So I majored in communications in college, and luckily I went to a school with a program that was very broad, so I actually was able to take a class in a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So I actually really found a passion for communicating with people and through all different mediums. And when I was in school, you know, social media was still really big, so obviously I was learning the ins and outs of that. I actually also went to grad school at LaSalle that I finished my master's when I was 22,
Wow.
and I went to school for communications in that as well,
Good for you.
just to kind of focus a little bit more. And
Educated.
She's doing that at 22, by the way.
Y'all hear that? Though? After she graduated, she got, you know, diplomas on top of diplomas.
Yeah, so I really wanted to kind of narrow down a little bit more of what I wanted to do.
Right.
I did work in PR for a little bit in Philadelphia when I was in college. I worked a little bit more in lifestyle though, so it was more of the bars, the restaurants, festivals, that kind of thing. And then I had a sports internship in college as well, so I wanted to narrow down exactly what I wanted to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So right now you're kind of in the sports industry area.
Yep.
So how's that going?
It's great. I really love sports. I have forever. And I actually met a now big mentor of mine in grad school who had worked for the Sixers G League team, which is now called Delaware Blue Coats. So that's where I actually got my start in sports. I was an account executive in ticket sales with them. And worked my way up.
I'm gonna say, so you started kind of from the beginning with the sales part. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So lifestyle industry versus sports industry, it's two different facets, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, how you made that transition.
Yeah, so it's so funny because still to this day I love both.
Okay.
I still even do some a little bit of freelance work for other small businesses that need help with things like PR, social media, website content, and that kind of thing. So I still, like, even right now, dabble in both. But I love the fast-paced atmosphere of sports. When you're in season, it's like you eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Yeah.
And I realized that when I had played sports growing up, but it's literally like the same when you play.
But it's also busy too, like even when the season's over, like the off season. There's like the drafts and then there's like scouting and whatever, like all those pre-workouts.
Yeah, and just because the team isn't necessarily around or playing doesn't mean that the organization doesn't exist.
Right.
So when I was in sales, we did most of our selling in the off season, and then a lot of my in-season stuff was more along the lines of service and taking care of our clients and things like that.
Gotcha.
So you talked a lot about the fast pace of sports. So talk about what a day-to-day may look like for you doing communications and PR work in the sports industry.
Right. So during the season, when I was with the Soul, it's again very, very busy. The team practices 3 days a week, so I would be at practices. Sometimes we'd have media there that would come to practice, so I would figure out who was coming, who they wanted to talk to. I'd grab our coach, the players after practice, give them a little, mini brief of, hey, so-and-so wants to talk to you about your goals for the game this week, that kind of thing, and prep them a little bit. I also travel with the team too, so I was away for every other weekend basically with them. And at the Blue Coats, my game day was my favorite thing because I got to visit with my clients the whole game.
Okay.
And that to me was the best. I literally got invited to my clients' kids' birthday parties. That's how close I was. I knew everything about them, their interests, their kids' lives, what sports they played, like everything. So that was my favorite part, and my favorite part about sports in general is just being able to help make good memories for people. So I was able to kind of do that across the board so far.
So you're a woman in a very male-dominated industry.
Yep.
So how do you tackle that on a day-to-day basis?
It's funny because when I was in college and I had told some of my mentors that I wanted to work in sports, people would laugh because even around that time, it just wasn't. It wasn't that common. But now, honestly, when I left the Sixers, though, the amount of women in management at the Sixers is unreal.
Really?
Actually, Laura Price is, she's I believe the chief operating officer at the Sixers. She's one of the highest-ranking women in the NBA, and I think now she's the most tenured. And so I was very lucky to be around her and a lot of other really strong, awesome women at the Sixers. So it's funny because when I left there, it really wasn't that uncommon anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is starting to
open up a little bit.
Sure.
Cool. So when you are kind of like making your way through the industry, and again, it's very male dominated, being a woman, how do you kind of like keep your standards high? Because sometimes it's expected that women have to be very submissive in their positions, especially in a male-dominated industry. How do you kind of like set the bar high?
To be honest, I really just kind of stay true to myself and the mission of either the team or if it's a brand I'm working with or whoever it is. And I just know that I really work hard to do whatever job I'm doing to the best of my ability.
Gotcha.
And I've been really fortunate that the people that I've been working with and around over the last few years also have seen that. So to be honest, if I have experience in something that I think, I might have a suggestion on how to change things, I'm more than happy to, bring that suggestion up. I feel like that kind of happens with everybody, no matter what. But obviously communication internally is just as important as externally, and I've learned a lot about that through grad school and my experience as well.
Wow.
So social media is huge. I mean, I feel like every year it gets bigger and bigger.
Yep.
Talk about the importance of staying relevant in this industry in regards to being on social media, and how do you kind of balance it? Like, with not maybe being on all the time, but having the things that are important on there.
Right. So it definitely is huge right now, especially from a business standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. So many people now are on Instagram, and I feel like the demographic keeps getting bigger.
Yep.
I know I migrated a little bit off of Facebook because my parents started to migrate on. So right. So
I'm not ashamed of it.
And now parents are starting to migrate on Instagram.
Just asked me about that, and I was like, "You will not."
Yep. Facebook. Yeah.
Chill on Facebook.
That's where y'all live.
Let us be great.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because honestly, it really does depend on your market too. I mean, if you have a
Good point.
demographic where you have that a little bit of the millennial and a little bit outside of the millennial age, then your best bet is Instagram. But if your target market is, you know, maybe something more along the lines of the soul, where they're trying, or the blue coats where they're trying to reach the parents.
Yeah.
That might be something a little bit more Facebook driven.
Mhm.
But I do believe that consistency is really key, especially on something like Instagram. I think that if you posting on a consistent basis and having a consistent like look, image, and even sometimes you'll go as far as colors you can use. I don't mind, but it kind of just depends. And there's also a lot of people who are trying different things. So if you see, a really cool suggestion somebody gives for a certain look for your Instagram or a certain theme, or you want to all of a sudden go and try a bunch of black and white pictures, go ahead and do it. And then if you don't see a return, switch back. Like you can just, you can mix and match a little bit, and using the business profile is cool with that because you can see all your analytics.
So how do you're a part of a lot of big brands, especially in the sports industry, but then you also have your personal, right? So how do you kind of like balance the two, as far as especially being in the forefront of social media, where you have to kind of stay kind of, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but kind of safe while you're still being with those particular companies?
Right. So I always kind of do a general rule of thumb. Like when I post, I always make sure that obviously nowadays, and we're seeing a lot in the media too, about celebrities and athletes posting crazy things. I always am very conscious about who is going to be seeing what I'm posting.
Absolutely.
Because you never know who, and now everyone is on Instagram, everyone. Every company, every hiring manager, everyone is on Instagram. So it's really, you got to take that really into account. I actually like the highlights, and which I wasn't really huge with in the beginning.
Into that yet,
but I like it because I feel like it shows different major aspects of my life. Like I have one for Philly, so like when I post a picture from here, I'll tag everyone here, and then anybody that goes on that highlight will now see it forever.
Nice.
And we really started to utilize that. When I was at the Soul, I made all of those, and if we were at an event with a sponsor, we'll tag the sponsor, and they'll be on it forever.
Right.
Everyone will be able to click on it. So I think that's cool because that shows things that you're interested in, things that you like to do, but also obviously you need to make sure you remind yourself of who's looking at it.
What's this for?
Right.
Well, we're working it with athletes and keeping their image per se peachy clean. Have you guys had to reel back any athletes with their social media and with dealing with that type of stuff, like handling it yourself per se, rather than letting them do it?
Last year, I kind of talked about it in the very beginning, before the season even started, as just a reminder. Especially in a world of sports, obviously there's tons of fans of now all ages on Instagram, and even kid fans, teenagers are all on there. So sometimes a nice little reminder would not hurt. I'm sure, things have had to be said in the past, but luckily, I feel like it really isn't always a huge issue. Now I'm seeing in the news that it seems like things are coming out randomly. But I think for the most part, as long as that's taken care of in the very beginning and just kind of an overall, I think that media coaching also never hurts. To be prepared of what to post, what to say, and that kind of thing.
Have you ever been a part of media training for athletes?
So I have actually done a lot of research on this. I've created presentations in the past. I haven't been able to give any of those quite yet. Everything I've done is just on a little bit of a small scale so far. But I definitely think that it is important. Luckily, in the league that we were in, a lot of the players are veterans, so they're actually very used to being in front of media, doing interviews, and that kind of thing. But you really never know, especially nowadays. Look at the Sixers; they have so many young players. I know they have a very extensive media training.
I like that.
I'm sure.
Especially now that they're I won't say relevant, but they're competing and
Yes.
they're in those,
Yep.
their top teams and stuff like that.
Right.
Absolutely. PR, public relations, it's something that I cringe with a lot because I see a lot of people who need good PR and they don't have it.
Mhm.
So when we come back from break,
Yes.
I want to talk about your experience in PR, maybe give some tips as far as that is concerned, and how important it is to have someone have a strong PR person, especially if they're going to be in the limelight, athlete, celebrity, and how that kind of works out. Okay.
I also
sounds
want
good.
to. I also want to know about your best and worst experiences working in these industries.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They have some juicy questions.
Alright, sounds good.
All right, everybody, do us a favor. Do not go anywhere. We have Gabbi Townsend in the building. She got all the scoop. She going to give us maybe in the second half. Maybe, if Jay can get it out of her. All right,
goal.
everybody. It's your girl, Lauren Rei, right here on What Ice Radio. We will be right back.
We're back, Lauren Rei, live on Water Ice Radio.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Rei, we got our special guest for this week.
We
Gabbi
do.
Townsend. She's out here dropping gems about PR, about event planning, operations, the Sixers, the Blue Coats, the Soul, everybody. Everybody. So before we get to some
Yes.
fun stuff, I want to get into some gritty stuff. Because I'm like, we were talking behind the scenes and how just crazy being in PR, communications, especially with sports and lifestyle, all that good stuff. So I was just curious to hear some interesting stories. So do you have any experiences where it was like the worst experience or the most interesting that you can share for us that people may not even know about that happens behind the scenes?
So just a kind of overarching, like in general thing, I know when I worked in PR when I first started, we had a ton of clients on television.
Okay.
That was a huge way in for us that, we were able to have a lot of clients on, whether it was restaurants that they would do a little cooking special or like a festival. But if you're going to be on with Good Day, Fox 29, like that airs at like 6. So
It airs at 6.
I would be up at like 4.
Yeah,
I
easy.
would be there at like 5.
Right.
So just that alone, I know I used to joke around. I joke around a lot with a lot of PR people I know. I'm like, do you sleep? And a lot of them are like, like not really. Which is, I think, is just crazy. And I think a lot of people don't really think about like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Obviously, even a lot of stuff like the radio. There's a lot of, huge, big radio hosts, especially in Philly, that all work at night.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be able to go see
Anywhere.
Cosmic Capital 10 p.m.
Right.
So like everyone's, people don't, I think, think about that. The day, I feel like and it is for a lot of people, but for PR people, the day is extremely long.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of an overall thing. But I've had a lot of crazy events that I've done. One of my favorite all-time events ever in the city that I've worked on is Dinner on Blanc. It was every year. I did it 3
That's
times.
Lauren's favorite event.
That's my favorite.
It was unbelievable. Like Dreamwalk came very close to
Okay.
the experience. Like Dinner on Blanc. Dinner on Blanc was one of those experiences where like we were working, but I would stop every once in a while and just like look around.
Yeah.
It
the roses
was
real quick.
crazy.
Yeah.
So what were you working on with Dinner and Blanc?
So I helped with some PR behind the scenes stuff and a lot of like the logistics things. For example, making sure taking care of the media check-in, making sure all the media had their credentials, making sure they knew. Every year we did like certain photo like vantage points for media specifically. So I know a few years they had an actual cherry picker, like figuring out how to get media up there, where were the best places to take the pictures that year. The schedule, when was the napkin waving, when was the sparklers, like that's the traditional things that people needed to know. But also it was fun as heck. We were all so
You kept looking at me. That's what I'm about to say.
it was great.
Well,
That was my
I still am a fan of Dinner and Blanc, but my first year there as media, I got almost kicked out. Yes, because my boss did not send me the requirements or the rules per se around social media of what not to do. So I'm like, I'm at my first Dinner and Blanc. I'm
outfit.
hair done. I'm not a patron. I'm there as media, and I'm in here. I'm all on the social media, and people are still coming in. So 2 people damn near tackled me and Hector and was like, what are you doing? Pretty much like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on here? Because I was posting on social media before everyone had got in, and everybody knows about Dinner and Blanc. It's like a secret location, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, y'all can stay, but y'all can't come back next year. And I was like, damn! Nobody want to be here anyway. Meanwhile, I was back there.
Oh, good. Okay, I was sad.
I was there as a patron the next year or whatever. No. Shout out to Dinner and Blanc. I love Dinner and Blanc. Yeah. I just didn't know that it's serious. They're like really serious about it.
I remember people were my family and friends were harassing me for the location, which is hilarious because I didn't even know the location until literally right before everybody else did.
You're walking to the location. You're like, what do you think it's gonna be? Where do you think it's gonna be?
I had no idea until we had to literally set up right like before everybody got there. Mm-hmm. That was all. And again, I mean, there's some setup. But it honestly wasn't a ton because everybody said
everybody set up your own stuff.
And my boss was smart. He went earlier than everybody else, so he still didn't have to tell people the location until the end. And honestly, I liked about it that way because I was also very excited because I didn't know where it was.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Listen, every city is serious about Dinner and Blanc.
Yeah.
It's like the event of all of the events. But it's a real fun event. I get it. Some people are like, they don't get it because they got to set up. You got to bring your own stuff.
That's me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't get it.
I get it. You know what I mean? It's
the atmosphere when you're there, though, when you go see everyone in one.
Yeah, but see, my thing is when you're after you drink and then you got to break down everything and carry all that stuff.
Carry it all back.
That's the reality. I'm not cool with that.
That's the part.
I'm pretty sure it rained by the last.
Sometimes it rains.
So I think the year it was at the museum, it rained.
That was my last.
The year we got kicked out, it did not rain. It was hot as hell though that year, and it was hot last year. Last year it was at City Hall.
Yeah, right.
And it was.
And plus, I don't like all day. I don't like rain all day.
I know you're like dirty by the end of the night.
Yeah.
It was like crazy.
I
But
did
it's
it.
fun.
It was I had a great time when I was there, and just events in general are really crazy. But it's funny because when I segued into sports, game day was the exact same craziness. And so I'm like, wow, I really like this chaos, and that's how I knew, like, all right, I'm good where I'm at.
I'm glad you brought that up. It is a
controlled chaos.
Yeah, it's an industry that is not built for the weak. You definitely gotta be strong. Because, like you said, sleep is like, I don't even think that exists. Having to deal with different types of personalities within the staff and within the athletes and the talent. All of that takes into consideration, and you're the one that's pretty much like behind the scenes coordinating everything.
Right.
So, like, has there ever been any, you don't have to name any names, but any, we'll say, talents or athletes that's been very, very trying, difficult when it comes to?
Yep. I feel like I mean, I honestly, and I feel like too, it obviously always depends on the situation and the game or the I don't know, environment, like that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, and I feel like you kind of get that in any business, any environment.
Absolutely.
There's always people that obviously are gonna test your patience a little bit, but I always just try to take a step back and make sure that people are clear to what I need to do, because sometimes people just don't know.
Right.
A lot of people.
That's true.
Like a lot of people with the soul, a lot of people weren't clear on what exactly I oversaw, and it actually was multiple departments worth of things, so a lot of people just didn't know. So I always make sure though that I'm pretty clear on what I'm in charge of, and what I have to do. I'm also lucky because I was able to have some interns help throughout the years in all of my positions. So I also made it very clear with them and with if it was athletes or whoever was around us, talent, that they work for me, and they, whatever they say, they're trying to help me out, and just know that, it's coming from me through that. So
I will end you.
And in sports, sometimes it was a little bit hard because a lot of my interns didn't have that kind of experience before, so they were a little bit nervous about how to, put their foot down a little bit without being rude, obviously. So I would help them out with that. But honestly, I didn't really have that many issues But of course, I mean, issues always arise. It's just how you handle them, I
Bob
guess.
and weave.
Yeah, right.
So a little bit about you when you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off and you're actually breathing. I see that you like to work out a lot in your downtime.
Yes.
How did that, like, not necessarily come about, but how does that make you feel? Like, do you decompress that way?
Yeah, so it's definitely my biggest stress relief.
Okay.
How I got started seriously is actually really funny. So I was on a competitive weightlifting team when I was young, when I was in middle school into high school, because I used to get, not like totally like mean bullied, but a lot of the boys on the bus used to torment me after school, and I wanted to show them that I was as strong as them, so I started to lift in their gym.
Cool.
So I had like a coach and we had like a team. It was me and a group of girls that started there, and that's how I started like actually lifting. But I've always loved working out, so I kind of just kept that, and it really helped me in grad school more than anything else. Because that was stressful.
Yeah, sure.
How often do you work out?
So I try on like a very perfect week. 5 days a week would be like so ideal for me. It gets really nuts, especially during the season. If I'm in season for a sport, my hours obviously become a lot longer.
Okay.
When I traveled with the Soul last year, I did do a pretty okay job with hotel workouts.
Sure.
And like getting at the gym, before team meetings and that kind of thing. But I have worked with multiple trainers throughout my life too. So I have a trainer now that I love, and I think that helps a lot as well. And group classes, group fitness is always nice too, to have people around you that are also motivating you.
I was like, our clientele, we have a pretty broad as far as different interests in industries and things like that. So if you were to talk to someone who may not know what they're doing or want to do, but they have an interest in whether it's PR, sports, or communications, whatever, do you have any advice that you would give to them, like how to go about starting somewhere or anything like that?
My biggest thing is you don't have to have your life all figured out, which I still very to this like actual second struggle with, because I always
One more time.
I felt like nobody told me that when I was young.
Don't let you fail.
I may miss that part of the life spiel, but you don't have to have it figured out. So if depending on whatever you're figuring, you think that this is something you want to get into, don't worry about what it is. Like, just do it. But also, especially with sports too, a lot of it is about who you know, and a lot of people are going to say that you talk to. So for me, I just like to get myself in front of as many people as possible. You guys already know because I've seen you at events, but I love going to events. It's like my favorite thing. I did a lot of networking events when I worked in sales, because obviously that helped me.
Sure.
But now I feel like that I'm out of it. I just love the social events.
Sure.
I love going to openings of this bar and this
Holiday
restaurant and
parties.
holiday parties.
I guess that's where y'all feel like you're
Yep. So yeah, and I love those kind of events because it's also fun. It's not stuffy. It's not intimidating.
Right.
Everyone's also there to have a good time.
You see a lot of those people that you'll meet as well, kind of let loose a little bit, and kind of let their hair down. So that's always a good look too.
Yeah, especially in Philly, because we all know how small
Correct.
Philly really is.
Yeah, it really is.
So
Definitely
get yourself in front of as many people as possible. And I do, like you said, I am trying to work with a few bigger events, like the DreamWalk kind of spectrum. I do help out with Fearless Con as well.
Nice.
So I do a lot of conferences, a lot of women's. Yeah, awesome. A lot of like networking, women's networking and things like that.
Cool.
So really quick before you go, I want to play a little game. We want you to be a part of the Lauren Rei Live family.
The experience.
Yes, but we will revoke your card if depending on some of these questions that we ask you.
No pressure.
I will be honest, some of them are, most of them are based around music, because that's our thing around here. We definitely like a lot of music. So, but they're fun questions, no pressure.
Cool.
So we'll see. Test your music knowledge. All right. So first question.
I don't even know what these are, so it's interesting.
So no yelling out loud.
Okay.
Everybody here, because sometimes we like to do that. All right. So.
Sometimes you like to do that.
All right. After you stop, drop. I'm sorry. Let me start again. After you stop and drop, What should be the next thing that you do? A, roll. B, put your hands up. C, shut them down, open up shop. Or D, hand over your license and registration.
Music.
Give me the options again.
Yeah.
All right, so after you stop and drop, what should you do next? A, roll. B, put your hands up. C, shut them down, open up shop. Or D, hand over your license and registration.
Is it C?
It is C,
Hey, stop. Drop.
Shut it down, open up shop. Put hand on lock.
Oh. Pass.
That's a good one.
Everybody said he's coming out this year. Going to be doing some music.
Yeah, it is. That's what's up.
All right. So
That was a cool question.
this is a food question. Now I know you be out here. But I'm sure you've indulged in some
Culinary arts.
culinary
A
arts.
little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, who has the better biscuits?
Oh. Oh man.
Is it A, Popeyes, B, Red Lobster, C, KFC, and D, if you've been there, Church's Chicken? Now, there's no right answer.
There's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong.
I was gonna say the house there.
But I'm a judge of whether.
I don't even know.
You don't even know?
I have one from growing up. Like growing up, Red Lobster's biscuits were like my grandma used to put them in her purse and then
That's how you know
I was hoping that you were going to say Red Lobster.
What would be second?
Definitely
I
Popeyes.
was gonna say Popeyes. All right.
Yeah.
KFC joints are so dry. You need
Yeah.
Popeyes and Red. I'm okay with that. I would have been okay with Popeyes.
Listen,
Yeah.
you're doing a good job. You are all right. You are all right.
Yeah, Red Lobster.
Now this is a movie question. Who was Bruce Lee's enemy in The Last Dragon?
Bruce Leroy.
Oh, Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
You know that.
I was gonna say, I'm not a big movieer. I'm more of like a TV series.
It's a multiple choice, so you can. Was it A, Eddie V, B, Cyrus, C, Shonuff, or D, the Mercy Riffs? I don't know who that is.
The Grimacy Riffs.
The Grimacy Riffs.
So say that. The options one time.
Whole question over. Who was Bruce Leroy's enemy in The Last Dragon? A, Eddie V, B, Cyrus, C, Shonuff, or D, the Grimace's Riffs?
Close enough.
Come on, girl. It's my
I don't know. Is it B?
What was B?
Cyrus.
No.
Oh, is it?
Show enough.
Oh.
Am I the meanest? Show enough. Yeah, Busta Rhymes did it. You know the video
Oh,
for
Yes. All right, I didn't know that one either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you slide.
Okay.
By the way, Last Dragon is on Netflix, so you want to watch
Is
it.
it?
Oh,
Yeah,
then I'll have to. I was saying, I literally know. I'm not a movieer.
It's cheesy 80s kung fu, but it's great. The soundtrack is amazing. Like it's
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout to Vanity.
Last question.
Last one.
There's another music question, and it's up to date question. So
Current.
it's current.
Got
Current.
Cool.
If Young Metro don't trust you, what future?
That's good.
All right.
Oh
Let
man.
me start again.
Rewind.
If Young Metro don't trust you, what might you do? A, call the police. B, beat you. C, fight you. Or D, shoot you.
D.
Hey! Young Metro don't trust you, don't shoot you. You know what? That's 3 out of 4.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
3 out of 4, Gabby. Your lottery live card will not be revoked. You are allowed to come back here. We always tell our guests the first time they are family, the first time they are guests, the second time they are family. But before you head out of here, let the people know where they can follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Gabbi Townsend, so it's Gabbi. My last name, Townsend.
That's easy enough.
Mom, don't follow her.
Yeah,
Don't get
no
on
parents
Instagram
allowed.
yet.
Okay, parents, you can come.
Anything cool you got coming up you want the people to look out for?
Not quite yet. I got a few things in the works, but you guys know it's like a kind of busy time of year, so
Yep.
have some things resurfacing soon that I'm working on, and a little bit of projects.
So follow you
Yes.
to find out what you got.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're gonna have some events that we want you to come out to
Sure.
as well. We got good stuff coming up this year.
Yeah.
But again, we want to thank you for coming through Lauren Rei Live. So glad to finally meet you in person and not on social media. This has been a really good time. Jay,
Yo,
we are about to be out of here.
but we'll be back.
We will be back. This
Yes.
is episode 2 already of 2019.
Yeah.
Woo! Got it. It's out of the way.
We gotta keep
Take
going.
it off. We gotta keep going. We got a long stretch. 2019 just started, everybody. So make sure you are following us on all social media platforms. Make sure you are checking out the show on everywhere: Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, TuneIn.
Tune in.
Just download them all, and we're there.
Shout out to Nap. Shout out to
Yes.
Samsung, our proud sponsors.
And shout out to the What Are Radio family.
Yes.
We got a lot of new
Yeah.
stuff coming to the platform. I'm really, really excited about that as well. All right, everybody, we are out.
Yes, we are.
We're about to go take care of some business. We'll be back here next week. And never, ever, ever forget, not all superheroes wear capes. Sometimes they wear headphones. Peace!